Hello, and welcome to another edition of Classic Elite Reviews. This is Scott from the ClassicElite.com podcast, and today I'm going to attempt to talk about MindJack. There's so much to this game, I'm not really sure where to start, so I'm going to do my best to cover as many highlights as I can, so I apologize if I forget anything or get anything wrong. First things first, in this game you can play as the host, where you play as the main character through the story in campaign mode. Or you can be a hacker and play in hacker mode, which you actually break into the story of another person who is currently playing through their own story as a host. So let's start with a little bit of the backstory. It's the year 2031, and you play as Jim, an FIA agent who's on a mission to follow an anti-government activist named Rebecca at an airport. While you're following her, a terrorist attack breaks out and you fight to stay alive. Now, as the story moves along, apparently you find out that you're part of a conspiracy. The interesting part of MindJack's story is that the battle to your character is basically just a game, because you're participating in the battle without anyone involved actually aware that you're even there, because you have the power to hack the mind of soldiers, citizens, and some robots that are in the environment. So pretty much anyone in the battle could potentially be your pawn. Pretty interesting, right? Now, having this understanding is absolutely crucial to understanding the most unique and innovative aspect of the game, which is going from single player to co-op campaign seamlessly. So I'll show you a few clips a little later on of a live person actually joining my campaign without it affecting anything that I was currently doing throughout my own story. But first, let's talk about gameplay. This is a third-person shooter, and it might look a little bit like Gears of War, but up to this point, it doesn't feel at all like a Gears of War game. There seems to be a lot more strategy involved, because you can actually take control of just about anyone or anything that's involved in the battle that you're currently in. Some things are just more difficult to take control of. Anyone that I would consider good, which is you, Rebecca, some robots, and citizens, you can actually take control of at any time. Now, enemies actually require to be defeated or close to death before you can hack them and turn them into mind slaves. Now, once they become a mind slave, you can actually take control of them completely yourself, or you can let the AI fight with that enemy on your team. So let me show you an example of what it looks like when you actually MindJack someone and completely take control of them. When you see that you're in a first-person view, that's the wondering phase, and you need to be in the wondering phase to actually MindJack someone. A cool mechanic that they added is using the R and the L buttons to quickly scroll through all the members of the battle that you can MindJack at any time. Now, let me show you an example of turning an enemy into a mind slave. Now, once an enemy is a mind slave, you yourself can control them, or you can actually let the AI do it. I think that I should point out that I'm actually pretty happy with how the AI controls the members of your team and doesn't let them just stand around. Early on in the game, you learn that if you don't make enemies mind slaves as part of your strategy, you're not going to last very long. Now, it looks like to me that if you're signed into Xbox Live or the PlayStation Network, that anyone at any time can join as a member of your team or as an enemy hacker. It truly is seamless, and for a while, I didn't even realize that a person was actually controlling an enemy and playing against me. So right here, you'll see a red glob of stuff. Now that's actually someone in wondering phase in hacker mode looking to take over an enemy in my game. Now, any enemy that you see with a red glow is a live person trying to prevent me from moving forward. Any blue that you see is a live person who is actually on your team. Now, you'll see on the top right-hand part of the screen a section that says winner and loser. In order to progress, you need to be on the winning team. And I've only noticed this popping up when there is somebody live playing with you. So if you haven't noticed that there's someone playing with you, if you start to see winners and losers on your screen, it means that you're actually playing with real people. Which is really cool, that it's so seamless and that you don't even notice that someone's actually joined. Now, I do have to be honest, I was getting really frustrated with the game because there was a point where I couldn't advance. There was a person that was playing against me that was just too good. So I thought that maybe I was completely stuck and then I would just have to log out of the game, log back in, to hopefully find somebody that wasn't better than me. Well, turns out the game's not broken. If you're the host, all you do is just kick them out and continue along your way. Before I figured out that I could kick someone out of the game who was affecting me from progressing forward, I honestly was losing some interest, but once I found out how easy it is to actually boot someone, I really loved the feature. Now it's time to talk about what I like and what I don't like so much about the game. Keep in mind, I've only put a few hours into it so far, so my initial impressions are, from a positive standpoint, it's a fast game, it's high energy, there's a lot going on, and I'm also intrigued by the story. I do need to mention that the weapons aren't too bad either, so I think that'll be pretty enjoyable. Now, the graphics to me look really good. There's nothing that's blown me away so far, but still excellent. Oh yeah, I also nearly forgot to mention, when you fail, you actually get the words "Game Over" to appear on your screen. I'm an old school gamer, so I actually love to see those words again, instead of just a cutscene of someone taunting me. As far as what I haven't really enjoyed with the game so far is the controls can feel kind of clunky, in particular the mechanic of taking cover. I'm starting to get used to it, but there have been some times where I feel like I'm getting absolutely lit up and I'm right next to a perfect spot to take cover, and the game isn't being as responsive as I would like. Clunky is also a word that I would use to describe navigating the environment quickly. Things like simple barricades and terminal seating should be easy to get around, and at times they just aren't. If an enemy is not too far away and I want to turn them into a mind slave, I feel like sometimes these obstacles hold me back and don't let me get around them quickly enough to actually turn that guy into a mind slave. It's definitely caused me some frustration so far, and I feel like it could have been improved. Before I wrap this up, I do have to mention that there is leveling up, but according to the manual, it does not enhance your character's ability in and of itself. So I'm not really sure what the point is, maybe for bragging rights over your friends that have the game. But anyways, here's a breakdown of my thoughts overall so far. This is a game that has such a bizarre story to it that I'm completely hooked and I'm really excited to finish it. Now, if the thought of people jumping in and out of your game puts you off a little bit, don't worry, you can actually play the game offline. I don't think that I'm going to do that. I think I'll just kick people out of the game if they're preventing me from moving forward. I don't think this affects your gamer tag by kicking people out. I doubt that it will. If it does, then I'll actually just play offline until my skills get better. I did briefly try the hacker mode, I have to bring this up. At this point, I'm not really interested in playing it a lot until I finish the story, but it does seem pretty cool. You can actually jump into someone's game regardless of how far along in the story that you actually are, or you can customize it so that you don't see anything further in the game than you really want to. I think that's pretty awesome, and it's a detail that they really needed to pay attention to, and they nailed. So my final thoughts are, I've really enjoyed this game, and it's sucked me into the story. I can honestly see someone trying it, playing it for like a half hour, setting it down and never wanting to play it again, but I can also see somebody falling so in love with the game that they put over 100 hours into it. It's a really unique game, and I look forward to seeing how the game progresses and what the reception is overall. So, for more on MindJack, please visit mindjackgame.com, and for more on Classic Leet, please visit classicleet.com or follow us on Twitter, username ClassicLeet. Thanks for watching, everybody, and hope you enjoyed.